Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal and happy Sunday, May 1st of 2022. One of the things that I love to do when I first get out of bed, and I did this early this morning when I got up, is when I put my feet on the floor before I actually stand up out of bed, I either say to myself or out loud, it's going to be an amazing day. And what this does for me every single time I do it, which is most days, is it sets the intention for an amazing day to roll forward. And it reminds me that I am alive. I am here to make a difference, to go about my day, send love out to everyone I encounter, and simply make it an amazing day. So that is a habit that I would suggest that you put in right away because it can completely shift your life in every aspect. So today is, as I said, May 1st, and it is actually my anniversary. So I've got a very fun day planned with my husband, and he's going to cook me a dinner tonight, and it's just going to be a lovely day to celebrate not just May, but 23 years of marriage and a wonderful day with my husband. So I'm looking forward to that. Now I have a really good message for you today. Like I say that every single time I come on. But the cool thing is what had happened this week is I gave an interview with a girl that I just recently got connected with. Her name is Stephanie, and she's a cancer coach, and she lost her dad 12 years ago to cancer. He did a lot of traditional things, and as his treatment started going, she became a deep researcher and added a lot of natural herbal medicine, change of lifestyle, change of diet, and all of that into his routine. And while he had good results, he still succumbed. So she has now been for the last 12 years a cancer coach. So she found me, we connected with an interview on Friday, and it just brought in a lot of reminding to me of the things that we can all do and the things that we can remember about the way our body heals and the power we have and the responsibility over our own health. It was just a really lovely conversation. It always brings in all of these things, like I said, that are reminders for me. So I just kind of wanted to remind you of the power and the healing potential that you have. We have these beautiful human bodies that are designed for wellness. And even when we abuse them to a certain point with the lifestyle habits that we do, whether that be the food that we eat, the food that we don't eat, whether that's too much food, too much of the wrong foods, the fast food, the junk food, the soda, the processed foods, the things that we actually eat, uh, our body still survives. We still survive lack of sleep, too much stress. And when we bring these things into balance and put these habits into place, not only do diseases heal, but we flow ourselves into vibrant health. And while we were having this conversation, there was this part of it that was like, think about what's happening in the world right now and how important our health is. Because with the way things are going financially, we don't know what the world is exactly going to look like in a few months or a year or a couple of years from now. I think we're in for some rocky times. I don't think it's a time to be a doomsayer, but I think this is a time where we need to realize that our most valuable asset is our health, because we could have one diagnosis of something that could take us down in every aspect of our life, not just our health and even possibly our life. But if you have one catastrophic health event from one person in your family, you can lose everything. You can lose everything financially. You know, there's a lot of people who maybe don't have insurance. There might be insurance that doesn't cover everything. And I think we need to bring that back in to the responsibility and the knowing that we have over our own health. And to me, this is a really important topic because it's not just about knowing these things. It's about saying, okay, I'm going to start these habits and I'm going to start layering in the things that I know that I need to be doing because this is my most important asset. And I think we've given away our power. As modern humans, we have turned our power over to our doctor. We've turned our power over to our different family members. And instead of saying, guess what? It's me. I'm the one who's responsible. I'm the one responsible for getting a good night's sleep and making sure that everything I do is conducive to that. I'm responsible for the food that I eat. I am the one who picks up the fork and puts the food in my mouth. And I know there are a lot of complications and emotional things, and there's a lot of nuances that come with taking care of yourself and eating the right foods. But this is the thing, we get to choose. We get to choose the level of responsibility that we are willing to take. And every aspect of our life will either suffer or it will thrive. And I truly believe that through these hard times that not only we've been going through the last couple of years, but what I think we're kind of in for is not a chance to say, oh my gosh, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm a victim of all these things that are happening. Rather turn that around and saying, I am the creator of my life and my health and everything that comes along with that. So I wanted to just take a minute today and just give you a really strong reminder that you have the power to control the outcome of your life and your health. Now, there might be things that are out of your control, and I know that that is the situation for many people, but there are so many things that are in your control that you might not pay attention to on the level that you know you should, and you always think that you can do it tomorrow. You always can do it on Monday. You can do it next month. You can wait till you get a better job. There's always these excuses that we layer on ourselves, and we don't truly step into our own power. And we don't realize the amazing gift we have as humans living in this modern world and all of the things that we have access to. You know, I think that there's things that we need to be preparing for. We need to be preparing for the possibility that there might be some shortages in food. I mean, let's just be really honest about that. What are you doing to prepare? So, you know, when you go to the grocery store, buy a little bit of extra. Get yourself a 4-week, 6-week, 60-day, 90-day supply, because it's not just about being able to take care of yourself and your family, but it's about the ability to share with others when we get into a circumstance where we might have to possibly look at that. I mean, these are all things that we need to be prepared for. And like I said at the beginning, it's not about being a doomsdayer. It's not about saying, oh my gosh, the world is crashing, the world's going to fall, the government's making all these mistakes. And it's not about any of that at all. It's about saying, you know what, I own this. I take personal responsibility for everything that happens in my life that I can. And there are going to be things out of our control. I get that 100%. But there are so many things more that we can actually control. You know, there's our sleeping, there's our disconnecting from technology. If you say you don't have time to exercise or you don't have time to get, to get the good night's sleep that you know you need, I would say there's at least 2 hours in your day that I can promise you, if you're like most people, that you are spending watching TV or mindlessly watching your technology. I promise you that you can find that time. I'm personally a little bit guilty of this myself. And I find myself getting caught, watching things that I know, okay, maybe that was a little bit enjoyable, but there are so many things that we need to be doing that are not only preparing, whether that be our health habits or whatever, but out just being a human and being alive. And one of the things that I would really suggest you do is start a garden. Or if you're not able to do that, or you simply don't have an interest, start looking around to your neighbors and forming a co-op, forming ways that you can connect with each other. Because I think our communities are our most important resource. Your neighborhood, your neighbors, the people, most people in our modern world, they don't even know their neighbors if they live in the same apartment building. I know how common this is because I know people who live in apartment buildings who don't even know the people who live next door to them. We have gotten into this place where we simply suck into our own world, and we might be in contact technology-wise with our family and our close friends with texting and all of that, but we don't even literally know the person who lives next door or one floor below us or maybe one floor above us, unless they're a super noisy neighbor, and then we make a note to make sure and let them know that we don't appreciate how noisy they are. So this is just kind of the place we find ourselves in. But to me, we find ourselves in a place of transition and growth. And I think it's an extremely exciting time because I find that as humanity, we're starting to make some really deep realizations that we've been giving away our power to to these big corporations, to our government. If you're a person who maybe has been dependent on getting a check somewhere, and again, please know that this is not about people who are on Social Security and disability. This is not anything about that. This is about human beings and our resilience and our ability to take care of ourselves to the highest point of our potential. And we all know what I'm talking about here, because it's not about the nuances that live on the outskirts of all of this. This is about what we know inside of ourselves and how we're able to take care of ourselves. So let's just take the biggest pillars of this. Nutrition. This is something that we can immediately take charge of right now. And this can have huge impacts on our health and our daily life. You can turn around your health in 30 days. It can be completely different from May 1st today to May 31st. You can have a completely different biome, microbiome. You can have different vascular system. Your digestive system could be better. It all depends on how willing you are to take that leap and do something that's uncomfortable. Do something that's uncomfortable. Don't pour yourself a glass of wine and get a big bag of pretzels and eat on that, or whatever your poison is. Be willing to say, okay, this is my comfort zone, and I'm going to change that. I'm going to make sure that there are veggies for me to munch on. And it's uncomfortable for a short period of time because your body's just not used to it. Your taste buds aren't used to it. And as you start to swap these habits, especially if you do it drastically, you get used to it really, really fast. And when you start to swap your nutrition habits, especially when they're drastic, what you'll find is immediately your sleep will change. Your sleep will get better. It will get deeper. It will get longer. So get that foundation: nutrition, sleep, disconnection from technology, your emotional connections with people, your positivity, what you put out into the world, and your intention. Every day, if you find yourself in the same rut of being a driver who's maybe always angry at what other people are doing, think to yourself, think about that as you're driving. Can you really do anything about the people and the way that they drive except for be defensive and be careful and be protective? There's no reason to push anger out, because the only person you're hurting is you. It's the only person that you are giving angst to. So there's a lot to unpack here, because I think that as humans, what runs our lives are our habits. That's what runs our lives. And changing a habit is difficult because you've got to create new patterns in your brain, and you've got to be very intentional about it. Write things down, keep a journal. So this is a lot, and I know that most of you are on this path, and most of you are probably doing pretty darn good at most of these things. But I would really suggest and challenge you to dial this in, especially now. Pay attention to your greatest asset, which is your health. This to me is the most important thing that you can have going forward with whatever the next few years look like. I think we've only got a taste of what's coming, but there's no reason to fear it. There's only reason to celebrate it and to know that we have the ability to thrive. That is, to me, the most exciting thing that's happening. So I would love to hear from you. Tell me some of the things that you're doing in the comments. Let me know if this resonates with you. I would love to hear. So I hope you have an absolutely beautiful, spectacular day. Make May 1st the best day ever, and we will talk to you soon.